Welcome to HortTube. My name is Jim Putnam. In this video, we're going to talk about rain gardens in a homeowner's property that's actually being installed. We're going to follow through the process, and I've got a great company that's installed lots of these in the Raleigh area. Can you tell me about your company, John?
Yeah, my name is John Wade, and my company name is Just Green Lawn and Landscaping. We've done a lot of rain gardens through the City of Raleigh Rainwater Rewards Program.
Okay, well, you want to tell folks about the Raleigh Rainwater Rewards Program?
Yeah, so we've had a lot of customers that have utilized this program, and basically what it is that the City of Raleigh provides a reimbursement for a program that captures their existing impervious surface to filter the rainwater that would then go into the storm drains.
Okay, so impervious surfaces would be roofs, sidewalks, driveways, anything like that.
Yeah.
So how do you know the size that the rain garden needs to be?
So typically, if it's 10% of the 10% of the impervious surface square footage. So,
okay.
For example, if it's 2,000 square feet of impervious surface, the rain garden would be 200 square feet.
Would be 200 square feet. Okay.
Yeah.
So how long have you been doing this?
We've been working with the City of Raleigh for about 18 months.
Okay, all right. And there's other cities around the country that likely. So if you're, this is specific to Raleigh. You guys know I live in Raleigh. This is Zone 7B, Raleigh, North Carolina. There may be a program like this in your area, and even if there's not, this is just kind of the right thing to do,
100%.
right? I mean, so why are we interested in taking these impervious surfaces like roofs and sidewalks and this drain and not allowing this water just to run directly into the stormwater?
Well, I think it serves a lot of different points. I mean, just from the pollution control of the water that comes off of these impervious surfaces, you've also got helping with the mediation of maybe even drainage. So like in this instance here, all of the water flow that might be coming down, if they're capturing their water into this rain garden, and we're able to grade all of this back here, then it's only going to help the neighbor and help everybody else downstream.
Right. So we're getting oils, contaminants, pollutants,
100%.
All of those things out of it. Are you mostly leaning on native plants when we're doing this sort of wet space like this? Yeah,
the designers that we work with typically utilize native plants in most of the rain gardens, depending on the plant availability.
Right. Okay. I saw that when you sent me your email that you're a North Carolina certified landscape contractor.
Yes, sir.
And so am I from back when I was a full-time landscaper. Well, how would you differentiate a North Carolina certified landscape contractor versus anyone else? So you went through some sort of testing, obviously,
for sure.
that led you to.
And we're always monitored through that, whether it's from us, our process of how we do these projects, with the homeowner, even the dollar cap. If it's, usually projects above $30,000 require us to have that license anyway, and we've got to take continuing education.
Right. Which I do
every
too.
year.
Right,
yeah,
and I do too. I continue to chase this every year. I'm not doing any installation,
it
but
never
I felt
goes away.
Yeah, I felt like it was important enough for me to take those steps when I was younger, so I don't want to let it go. You're going to just take the gutters. This house has existing gutters. If it didn't have gutters, they'd have to get them installed, right?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. So you're going to take the existing gutters and pipe them all together. So there's 3 here on the back of the house?
Yes, we have three downspouts, one here, one there, and one on the back corner.
Okay.
And what we'll end up doing is utilizing these 2 downspouts and probably making one line here, so that two downspouts are tied into one 4-inch pipe. We use the double wall solid pipe.
Yeah.
So we don't have to worry about it getting crushed or whatever.
Right.
This one downspout will probably, I would say, more than likely be by itself. So we'll have two pipes coming into the rain garden that we'll just, once the rain garden's full of soil, we'll just put some river rock there to help, keep the mulch from washing out. But that's basically, trenching. These 2 will tie into one, and then this one will be its own line, and it'll direct all that to the rain garden.
Okay, so how big was this? How big does this one need to be?
1,200 square feet, so the rain garden will be 120 square feet.
So 120 square feet,
yes.
And your landscape designer will figure out, she's figured out where she wants.
So we'll look at this. Usually what we end up doing is she'll take her initial measurements that she has off of the plan, and then we will either paint this out or rope it out or flag it out. bring the homeowner out and let them look at it and say, hey, this is right now, this is what the plan's showing. Do you want this, you know, to be adjusted or something, like just for their own aesthetics? But as long as the square footage is accurate for what we're trying to capture, then that's what we're concerned about.
Okay, and how deep is this got to be?
30 inches.
30 inches. And then how much, what are you putting back into the...
18.
You're filling 18 inches back into it, but different materials as you come up?
So we excavate the 30 inches, and it's going to look like a koi pond before we get started on the...
Does it have a shelf?
Sure, yep. So we'll have about a 1 foot berm on this one.
Okay.
We will add 18 inches of soil in. The city of Raleigh requires us to have 10 inches of ponding depth. So 18 inches of subsoil and 3 inches of mulch and 10 inches of ponding depth.
Okay, and you're using pine bark?
Yeah, so we typically, if the soil on the infiltration test is good, we will use a little bit of that soil back in. We'll till that in with some 50-50, and then I'd say the top planting area, we will use pine fines mixed in with the compost to help with some of the drainage. In
your infiltration test, again, you told me off camera, but again, how are you going about figuring out whether this perks? Basically, we've got to figure out whether this water will actually soak into the ground here.
Yeah, so we have to basically take a post hole digger, just like you're digging a fence post hole, 30 inches deep, and the homeowner fills up that hole, waits 24 hours, measures the water if there's any water in the bottom, then they fill it up again, wait another 24 hours, and then take the measurement off of that. And if there is no water in the hole, then they do not need an underdrain. If there is a situation where maybe there's 6 or 8 inches, 10 inches of water that's still in the bottom, then they would require an underdrain.
Okay, what would an underdrain entail?
So an underdrain, I'm assuming number one would be mosquitoes and just rotten, stagnant water.
Yes,
and the homeowner's probably not signing up.
So you need that.
They're probably not signing up for that.
You have to have the water go away. It can't just sit in this pond.
And so really on an underdrain, we take perforated PVC and have it just completely surrounded by 57 stone.
Okay,
and then we would put soil in on top of that, so at least the sub-layer of water would still be able to get out, but the rain garden would still be able to function the way it's supposed to.
Right. Okay. So you're basically kind of putting a septic drain field underneath the garden at that point. Okay. Beautiful. So now I've pulled Carla aside. Can you tell me something about yourself, your landscape designer for this project?
Yes, I am. Okay. And yeah, we're really excited to actually add a rain garden into the whole plan for the backyard redo.
Right. Which is interesting. You're figuring out how to fit this in instead of it just being a bunker, looking like a bunker in the middle of the backyard. Right. It has to fit into the overall landscape.
Yeah.
So this water recapture doesn't have to be unattractive. It
can
be,
which is, I think, is really cool. A lot of people picture like a rain garden being like a hole in the ground, and it's really not at all. And honestly, once all this is landscaped, unless you know that's a rain garden, you wouldn't come in and be like, oh, that's a rain garden.
Okay. Oh, nice. So this is a total landscape project you have going on. This is going to be sodded. There's going to be beds around. So we'll come back.
Yes.
Before I put this video up, I'll show you the completed space back here. So have you been involved in many of these?
Yeah, I have. I don't know that I know a number, but it's really neat. So because we use I think John said how you do it. So
using the math.
Of
impervious spaces.
Right, and it's really a way to help. We see water problems in so many yards, and it's just like their water is just ruins yards, and so it really is a helpful way to be able to make a beautiful solution and great environmentally, It's filtering out pollutants, it's slowing the flow, it's doing all the things. And
is there a very particular set of plants that?
There is, which is why a lot of people are like, oh, do you want to do the design yourself or do you want someone to do it? Because there is, you have to have things that actually tolerate extreme wet and extreme dry. Because if you think about it, you've either got
Right.
a lot of rain, or you've
Yes.
got none, and we don't
Yeah.
want everything done. Like, we don't want you watering your rain garden that much,
Right.
except in the first year, when we do want you watering it to get everything established.
Right.
So we use plants that have low, really long roots
Okay,
that go
gotcha.
down much
Gotcha.
farther, so
Is that
they're
gonna be grasses and things?
tolerant, right? And then,
Yeah.
and then grasses and, yeah, so they're definitely a certain set of plants.
Right. Yeah, and that's the thing. When you create extreme drainage,
Yeah.
when it doesn't rain,
Right.
they're dry. It's
Right.
super, super dry.
So with the long roots, that really helps
Gotcha.
because they don't, they're not just, most plants I think have roots in the top
Right.
4 to 6 inches. I could
Yeah.
be wrong, but generally. And so, so it really helps.
Okay. Awesome.
But they're beautiful things.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
We'll see you at the end.
I know, hopefully.
Okay, right. Of course, they'll be small.
Right, they
Okay,
will.
Right.
They will.
So I missed them actually filling in the rain garden, but we can talk through the process. So they dug the hole, which you see here in the video, and then the bottom foot or so, they used the native soil, which is this crazy red clay, which is amazing. It literally looks like bricks coming out of the ground, with some pine bark, which is right here, and some compost, which is right here. So basically, these three basic ingredients, the native soil, the bark, and the compost, get mixed together about a third in the bottom of the rain garden, so the bottom foot of it. Then on top of that, just a basic mixture of the pine bark and the compost together in the top part of it. We'll walk over there and take a look at that, how that looks in just a second. They weren't able to plant all the plants. I'm filming this in middle March, and so a lot of the perennials had been in a greenhouse. They had already woken up, so they didn't want to put those in, so they'll go in another month or so, and they're still out here landscaping. I'll give you a shot after. They should have the mulching and stuff done. It's supposed to rain a little bit this week, so I don't know how far this will get through, but you're seeing a picture of how far they made it with this project right now, hopefully. If we'll get the camera to swing around, we can show these two gutters that John had talked about. There's one right down here, and it goes under the ground and was trenched. I think you can see it back in there where they ran it, and it runs right back to where the camera is, and use the trencher to go all the way down to where the water garden is, down at the end. The guys are on I've caught them on a break down here, and then all of this was graded going that way as well. The next gutter was right here. One thing I like about their crew, and this was something I was very particular about when I was landscaping, this pipe disappears directly into the ground. Always, I don't know, from doing this for years, when they come out and then they go in the ground at an angle, it just doesn't look professional. But that one, boom, just disappears right into the soil, and they ran this one under the deck. And again, that pipe is a double wall pipe, so it has the corrugated part on the outside and then a solid part on the inside. It helps prevent from crushing it when you're starting to run equipment back over it later. And then the third gutter, is right there, right, and it ties in to that second gutter underneath the deck. And and then dumps into the rain garden right here. And if Steph will come around with the camera, you can see where the water is going to actually come into this rain garden. These guys have gotten a lot of work done in 2 days, basically. It's been 2 days at this point since you guys saw us talking about it until now. 3 guys over here have done a whole lot of work. Under our feet, we have about a foot of this mix of pine bark and compost, and then under that is another foot with the native soil, compost, and pine bark. The few plants that are already in here are natives. I think this is a mully grass here, Mullenbergia. It's completely dormant grass, so it's hard to tell. But you can use sedges in these as well. This is Itea, which is a native, Virginia sweetspire, which is a native. And there's a few named cultivars on these. I don't know which ones these are. Inkberry hollies, I imagine most of these are going to have inkberry hollies in them, native. And then 2 smooth hydrangeas over here, hydrangea arborescens, which are native. We have 2 native hydrangeas, oak leaves, and then hydrangea arborescens. That's all they've put in here at this point. There's a lot of other things planned for this space, but again, they had either woken up or they're unavailable because there's definitely a plant shortage right now. So that's the basics of a rain garden. A lot of work has gone into this, trenching through this backyard. There were some very large pines back here that were removed as part of this project earlier on. Stumps were removed. So, you know, as simple as it might look to dig a 30-inch hole and pipe your gutters into it, this was actually a tremendous amount of work for these 3 guys to put this in. And I get a lot of questions. I've gotten a lot of questions that I've put up photos on Instagram about whether this is, you know, going to have mosquitoes. No, the purpose of having this loose material here is so that this water soaks in quickly, so there's no standing water here. You'll have standing water while the storm is going on, but within just a few hours, the water will sink into this, and so no problems with mosquitoes. But again, what we're doing here is filtering the water before it makes it, you know, into the sewer system and gets it down into our aquifers where it belongs. So people down further east in North Carolina can, you know, have clean well water. So that's basically what we're accomplishing here. So thank you guys for following along and watching. And if you're interested, you know, I'd like to get maybe go out with their crew again and take a look at some other projects they're doing. Thanks for watching.